welcome back to Hermitcraft. Alright, well, I have made a reasonable amount of progress, I think, in getting this thing built. I've got the first 5 layers of it done and all filled in with water and everything. And I head up this crude scaffolding here up to the top, the current top. You see here where I'm ready. Right now I've got the 6th layer is right there in position, and I'm ready to put the last bit of water in the 5th layer. And get back here behind the observers here is where there'll be a line of redstone behind each one, and so on. And after this layer I'll be taking the ceiling up 2 more blocks, and that's when I'll be setting up the water streams that will deliver all of the kelp from each side into this channel in the middle. And yeah, it's been a little while doing all of this. After last episode, I spent another 2 or 3 hours on it then, and a bunch of hours yesterday, and I'm hoping that in an hour or 2 today I can get this thing finished and operational. So the next step here, like I said, is just water up against, well, the way I'm doing it, water up against the glass all along this way, and I just pull out of the source blocks there. And do this all the way down, and then do the same on one of the ends. That will make source blocks flow out and fill in the whole layer. And then I'll do it again for this layer right there. The last layer of kelp will be on top of those observers right there, and then another layer of water, well, 2 more layers of water, and then I'll be ready to do the water streams that deliver it to the center. So I'm going to go ahead and get busy with this and see if maybe I can get this thing operational today. Alright, that last layer of stuff is all done, and now I'm at this point here where I take advantage of, well, one of the new water physics things and place slabs, a whole layer of slabs in here on top. And then once that's done, I'll come along here and put water source blocks along that side. We'll have water flowing right out to the edge here, and then all I have to do is remove the slabs. And this thing will be just about finished. I'll have to do a little something with some redstone, but that's a minor issue. And so on. So it's going to take me a little while to get all these slabs on here. So I'm going to do that and be back. Okay, now I just need water source blocks along this one side and then release them to get a flow going. So I'm going to cheat just a little bit. Get a couple of buckets of water, and we throw a bucket here, throw a bucket there, refill out of the middle, and then just do this, extending it down. And now I've got source blocks the whole way. And now all I need to do break out all that cobble. The water flows right here to the edge of the glass, and everything goes down there. Now I just need to do the same thing over here And then it will be time to put in the delivery system that will set this thing. Oh, well, there is one more step. I need to go here and break out all these slabs. But that won't be a big deal. So I'll finish this up, get the other side done the same way, and I'll be back. Okay, now everything that floats to the top on either side will end up, as you can see, going over the edge into the middle. Okay, now first up, I'm going to go down there and collect all those slabs, because waste not, want not, and all that good happy stuff. Alright, now to get a water stream going to take the stuff in the center and bring it home. Alright. I'll go around to the side there, down to the other end. Start from there. Ah. Okay. Alright. Okay, start down there. It's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. What does it need to go? 7 or 8? 8 will do. Alright. And then 2, 3, 4. Hello. What the heck is going on here? It's like the source blocks have suddenly jumped out. This is not supposed to be like this. And it was perfectly fine. Oh, I get it. The kelp. When it grows, it insists on having a source block, so it makes a source block. Alright, so if I drop down here a little ways and break all of these things, I can prevent that from happening. Okay, now I see the error of one of my ways here, because one of the things I did was, okay, there's source blocks right there. I just bridge out to it and destroy it. And I'm going to have to do a bunch of this. And I may have to go back in here and replace my slabs and redo this whole section. But before I do that, let's see what happens if I do this. Of course, I'm going to have to replace all the slabs. Yeah, I'm going to have to replace the slabs. But before I do, I think it's time to make a change on this thing. You see, as I built it, I had this goofy idea that I didn't want it running until I had everything finished. But that was a mistake. And so, as a result, all of these don't have redstone behind them. I also had an idea that I wanted to have this thing have an off switch. But I can see now that this is not such a wonderful idea. Because if the kelp grows too high, it will cause source blocks where you don't want them and cause the spillover that I just experienced. So I go in here and I place the redstone in all the places where it needs to be. And now when the kelp grows, it will get automatically trimmed. Yeah, there we go. There. Okay, let me get up to that last little bit. On this side, and I'll have to do the same thing on the other side, and that will prevent this little disaster that just happened. Well, not a major disaster, but a pain in the butt disaster. Okay, I'm going to need to grab a little bit more redstone. That's probably too little. There. Alright. Yeah, I wanted to have this thing have an off switch, so I figured I wouldn't put the redstone in until I was ready for it to run. And then what I wanted to do was, which I'm not going to do now, is I wanted to run a redstone line to each one of these batches of redstone and hook the whole thing into a lever so that I could flip the lever and shut the thing off. I see now that this was not the brilliant idea I thought it was. Okay. I'll just pillar my way up to it. Yeah. All right. Another layer up there. And I think one more on top of this one. Yeah. Okay, here's one of them. Yeah. There, that will take care of that problem. And no more of this mess. Now I have to go up there and place all the slabs again and reform the water streams on the top. And this time they'll stay reformed because, yeah, there won't be any kelp growing high enough to mess things up. And there is, however, a skeleton to mess things up. I don't suppose he'll drown in that down there. Okay. There. All right. Looks like there's still a bit of a mess over there, too. I don't suppose I can get away with fixing this without having to redo this whole side too. No, I'm going to have to redo this one too. Alright, I'm going to get them done and I'll be back. Okay, got my derp fixed up. Now back to this here. Collect as much of this as I can. I've gone ahead and extended this out and down and out here. And what I need is, well, I need a way to collect all this stuff. And let's see right there, yeah. Let's drop a chest, drop another one right next to it. And I'm going to put a hopper feeding into that chest. And then, I guess for right now, just some cobble to block that from having a flood problem. I'd fix it another time. And now, water source here. And another one there. This is only 7 blocks or whatever. So everything that comes in here will now go into that hopper, and from the hopper down into the chest. Alright, so we've got the beginnings of item collection. Now I need to get set up with what to do with it once I collect it. Okay, now starting to get things together here. Right there, I want the hopper to come down to there. Just build myself a hopper pipe going vertical. Now I know in Cub Fan's tutorial he used a glass tube and whatnot, but right now, to be perfectly blunt, hoppers to me are cheaper than glass. So we've got a big chest up here for a buffer, and then there's all the hoppers and whatnot. And now I can take a bunch of this down. Don't need it anymore. Actually, I think I can take it all down. Good. And this is the point where I end up having to stop a lot and refer back to the tutorial because, yeah, this is a thing I haven't built before. And yes, I've seen the tutorial a few times, several times actually, but you know how it is. When you're building something, you have to keep referring back to the source and whatnot. So I'm going to have, what I'm going to have here is a chain of hoppers coming down. They will hold the kelp and bring it down, and there will be an arrangement, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably about there, where I will have, oh heck, let's just use the polished diorite. And up there will be a place where there's going to be, okay, actually not there, but there. There'll be a powered rail here at an angle. The hoppers will feed down right straight into it. There'll be a hopper minecart that comes in here to collect it. And I'm going to have to cut away and get that stuff, the whole array and whatnot, built. And I'll be back in a bit. Alright, a little bit of trial and error here, and I think that I've pretty well got this thing set up correctly. And by the way, I will include a link to Cub's tutorial video on this thing in the video description. Just, you know, because it's going to be easier to follow that if you want to build this thing than to follow what I'm doing, which is not quite exactly the same, but it should work just the same. Anyway, with all of this set up, it is now time to test it. So I take a minecart with a hopper and set it down here, and since the hopper is the minecart with hopper is empty, this thing should flip the rail here so that the hopper goes, so that it goes up there onto that slanted piece to be filled by the hoppers there. So I'm just going to set it down here give it a bump. It's up here. It is filling quite rapidly. And once it's full, it should be launched and head out here along all these hoppers on top of the furnaces. And it will continue making that. Okay, that's not quite the way it's supposed to work, but you know something? Oh, wait a minute. Maybe if I just bump the delay on that one just a little bit. That's what it needed. One tick more of delay. And so now it's distributing kelp into the furnaces evenly. And all I need to do now is go over here. I picked up some dried kelp to kind of get things started. That should be plenty to get things going. Now over here on this rail, I'll go ahead and turn that on. And no, turn it off. I've got a minecart with a chest. Load this stuff into it. Turn that on. It starts circulating back and forth, distributing fuel to the furnaces. Just going back and forth, distributing fuel. And the kelp blocks, I don't know how many items they're good for burning, but I expect that by the time I need more fuel, I will have plenty of more fuel. And then underneath the furnaces, there's a hopper chain going from there over to this end, and it will deposit the dried kelp in here, which can then be crafted into kelp blocks. I need to put a crafting table over here, and used to reload that supply. And as I understand it, from what Cub said in his tutorial, this thing is capable of producing a double chest of dried kelp per hour. That sounds pretty good to me. Now, I think what I'm going to do is hang out in the area here, let it run for a while, and see how it's performing, and so on. And I'll let you know the detail about that next time. I did have to alter a little bit of redstone. Well, this setup right here, this bit right here with the detector rail and a comparator and this stuff right here, I had to move it that way, 2 blocks, because there's a thing about redstone. Back in the day, we used to call it the Southwest Rule. And it had to do with things involving orientation of rails, like, for example, this corner piece. In the orientation that Cub built his in the tutorial, it defaulted to this way, and then that redstone torch down there had it flipping this way. I had to invert the signal to get the same results here. That thing is filling fast. I like that. So it's definitely going to keep all these things going. But that's the only change that I had to make to the redstone, really, was to move it back a couple of blocks and invert the signal. Other than that, hey, this thing is working good, it looks like. And yeah, I'll have a better idea of how it's doing later, after it's run for a while in the next episode. So, thanks for watching. Take it easy. I am out of here.